Everyone says going brand direct is the holy grail of Amazon selling. Cheaper prices, exclusive deals, no competition. But what if I told you it was not what you thought it was? It could actually lose you money, tie up your cash for months, and leave you stuck with zero protection. Is Amazon brand direct really the ultimate seller's dream or the industry's biggest trap? So the first thing you think about when you think about brand direct is that because you're buying from the manufacturer directly, you are going to be getting cheaper pricing. But is that really the truth? Now, in this recent interview that I watched, one seller explains the reality of the situation.
You always think that it's going to be cheaper if you buy brand direct. And what I found was that's not always the case, because when you buy from a brand, you're like, I'd like to place an order for 96 units or 4 cases or, and they're like, no problem. It's $5 a unit. And you're like, wait a second, there's a distributor that sells it for $4.75, and they're like, yeah, that distributor buys, 2 truckloads a month or, some insane volume. You're coming in and want 4 cases, and you're not going to get the same price as those guys. So,
okay, so maybe you're not getting the cheapest of prices, but hey, most people aren't going to worry about this because they think, hey, you know what? That distributor is going to sell out, and then obviously you're going to be able to sell your product. This isn't actually the case. A lot of the times you can get massively undercut. You can even lose money. See here how this seller reached out to the brand directly, bought the product directly, and then see what happens.
And then the other part that I didn't take into account was, at the time, they were in Walmart and they were in Menards, which is, if you're not familiar with Menards, it's a large Home Depot type of chain. They also carry groceries and stuff. But what we found out was, every once in a while, they would just put these things on an end cap as a loss leader kind of thing and just sell them for 99 cents a bag. Well, I was paying $2.15 a bag, direct from the manufacturer. So people just kept undercutting the pricing, and it just became this impossible, I guess what I expected of it, this straight line, keep a chart, $14.99 pricing. It just never panned out the way I thought it was going to.
We've talked about you're not going to get maybe the cheapest pricing. Also, as well, your competitors, distributors, even retailers can undercut you. But hey, maybe you're thinking, you know what, I'm going to get the brand involved. I'm going to basically kick everyone else off the listing. Maybe you're not going to go with the most amount of profit to start with because, hey, guess what? It's a long-term game. And get them in there, maybe update the listing and kick the other sellers off and, get into brand registry. No problems. That's the game plan, right? Well, that's not exactly true. Check this out.
Back then, I just assumed that I could go in and just file IP complaints against all these other sellers, because that's what other sellers had always done to me as an arbitrage seller, And so we start laying the hammer down on some of these third-party sellers, and we started getting some pretty aggressive pushback because they weren't violating IP. They just weren't. They were buying them from distributors. They were doing retail arbitrage from big box stores. And so then they also got some pushback from one of their big distributors. I think it was KE or UNFI started calling them and going hey, our e-com sellers are wondering what's going on here. We sold them this product thinking that they could sell it on Amazon, and now all of a sudden you kick them off the listing. And so it just kind of created this big fire that we had to put out. And we did have some threats of lawsuits. I don't know if they would have followed through with them or not, but there were some other sellers that were saying hey, we're going to file suit against you for falsely claiming we violated your trademark. And so we had to kind of rescind a lot of that. And then, so that was kind of part of it, is not really knowing how brand management worked or brand enforcement worked on Amazon at the time.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting because from our side as resellers looking at the brand direct, we always think, once you get IP complaints, we need to get off the listing. But what's interesting as we're seeing from the other side is that actually when you buy from big box retail arbitrage, even distributors, it's actually legit. You're not violating IP. But also listen to what he said. He said that distributors themselves went back to the brand, and the brand were very interested and obviously worked with the distributor to allow the distributor to sell to its customers. And so obviously I'm thinking I'm going to be working with the brand direct, but no, I'm not the only vested partner. Other distributors who the brand is selling to are obviously going to have a lot of important sway because, hey, they're buying a truckload and I'm only buying a couple of boxes. Now, in the game of brand direct, what is the whole concept? What is the opportunity which we're being sold? You can basically find a brand on Amazon, find some of the listings that maybe need cleaning up, for example. Easy. They're kind of doing a bit of sales already, but you can go in there, reach out to them and say, hey, I can go and clean up your listings. That's quite easy. And then obviously secure a brand direct partnership. And that's it. Simple, hey? Well, maybe not. Check this out.
We just landed a deal with a company here in Michigan. They're in the hunting space. And for our business, it's a game-changing opportunity. We will be able to completely move away from kind of selling our own products, hustling for arbitrage, wholesale arbitrage opportunities, and just focus on this brand. So it's been huge for us. But they've got like 40 plus cat products in their catalog and 40 plus products on Amazon. And the number of cases that we've had to open just to kind of bring everything under the umbrella of the brand, because when these third-party sellers oftentimes created these listings, they would spell it differently. They would put it under the wrong brand. They would put it under their own brand. They would use the wrong UPC. And so the number of cases just to kind of get control, not even control of like pricing or third-party sellers, just to be able to get control of being able to add new images, A+ content, title, bullet points, things like that. We started this project in January, and we just sent in our first batch of inventory in April. We just sent a small batch out the other day. So we're just now getting control to the point where we can actually like send inventory in. Countless cases. I mean, I don't even know how many hours have been spent. And then other things too, like, then this brand is a little bit unique. All these changes triggered all these like hazmat review, hazmat reviews. So like finding SDS sheets and all this stuff for everything in their catalog. It's just like the catalog maintenance side of it, the back end of Amazon side of it has been, I mean, I don't even know how many hours. It's just been my full-time job. Plus with the help of an agency, it's for the last, like I said, we landed this opportunity in January, and it's been my full-time job ever since. So
yeah, and I think that's the thing you got to understand. Listen to what he said. He said basically 3 months full-time, 40 hours a week, plus an agency before you can even ship any stock in. I don't know about you, but like I don't have a full-time job available to spare on the opportunity to maybe work with a brand. It's a lot of upfront investment to really think about. Obviously, when you're thinking about trying to get these brands in. Now, not only on top of that, obviously you've now got to go buy a lot of stock. And I've met a lot of Amazon sellers, especially who have worked with brands, and they need to hold anywhere between 8 to 12 weeks worth of stock at any one time, which is significant investment in capital just to be able to work with the brand directly. So something really interesting there. Now, what I want you to understand is that it took him 3 months before he could actually ship any stock in. The listings were ready for stock in. It's incredible because it just takes so much time. And it's basically, as we said before, a full-time job. And this is the thing. Brand direct is sold to us as like the golden opportunity. It's so easy, but there's so much work with no guarantee it's actually going to work. What do I say? Whether you're thinking about brand direct is a scam or it is not is really up to you. But the truth is there are some sellers out there who are absolutely crushing it in the wholesale game who do an element of brand direct. And so I think personally, online arbitrage and wholesale are great models. And if you've got them cash flowing, sure, go into brand direct. But starting with brand direct, I don't think is the right way. If you're interested in wholesale, I've personally sat down with a good seller, a good friend of mine, Dan 1000 Asins, who has scaled his business this year from 12 million to 25 million in just 12 months. That's incredible. And he shares exactly how he does it and the challenges he faced in a great interview that I've done with him. You can watch it around here. And trust me, you don't want to miss that one. Now, if you found this helpful, give me a big thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.